Peace and blessings, and welcome to the ZOLA Experience. It's all about love podcast. I am your host, Katora A. Bryant, no period after the A, and I welcome you. We're going to have a very lively conversation coming up with Robin Gordon. She is a ZOLA ambassador. But before we do that, I want you to like and subscribe on the uh, area below because we need as many people as possible to like and subscribe so that will get us in the mix of things. Please share this podcast with your friends and your family. Hopefully you'll gain some insight and it may change your life and you may be motivated to join the ZOLA family. Also, on the ticker tape below, you will see that you can make donations, tax-deductible donations to the ZOLA Experience, which is a 501c3. Go on to the website at www.thezolaexperience.org and explore the website and make sure you go to the donation page and support this movement to heal individuals, families, communities, and ultimately humanity to help them process loss, trauma, and grief. There's no place on the face of this earth where someone has not experienced loss, trauma, and or grief. And we believe that the 7 sessions of ZOLA is going to be one of the major things that will help to move our sense of humanity back to center. So thank you so very much for joining us this evening, afternoon, or right now, today. So would like to bring on our guest, Robin Gordon. And Robin is one of our ZOLA ambassadors.
Hello, everyone. Hello.
Peace and blessings, Robin.
Peace and blessings. How are you?
I'm wonderful. How are you today?
I'm doing well. Thank you.
Good. Thank you so much for joining us on this
Thank you for
podcast.
having me. Thank you.
So there's a few questions that I'd like to pitch at you. And then, after that, we can just have an open conversation about the impact of the work that we are doing. What motivated you to want to join a ZOLA circle for the very first time?
Yes, what motivated me was that I was experiencing some loss within my family, and I wanted to reach out and to be able to gain some insight about grief and loss. And I was talking to one of my good friends, and she had shared with me this new and upcoming program called ZOLA, and it was wonderful. Once I started to learn more about it, it really was able to help me.
Okay, this is a beautiful thing.
Yes.
So once you went through the ZOLA 7-session experience, what was a major takeaway for you from that experience?
A major takeaway for me was there is life after you lose a loved one or a loved lost object. There is life after, and that you can be whole and you can be happy and you can be filled with joy again after that, after experiencing grief. That there's hope and that there's love and that there's a support group out there, and that definitely you can have a wonderful life after experiencing a loss.
So once you have had that impactful experience, you approached us and you said, I think I want to be a ZOLA ambassador. So what
Yes.
motivated you to want to become a ZOLA ambassador?
I am a people person. I work in a field where I'm helping others every day. And I know that there's so much going on in our communities and we need to heal. And after going through the 7 modules, I was hooked. I was instantly hooked. And I said, I have to be able to bring this message of healing to others. So again, I would say just our community needs it. And there's such a need for this program. So
Mhm. Mhm.
Yes.
So, where, now that you've been involved with the ZOLA Ambassador training, and where do you see yourself using and approaching different types of agencies, organizations? Where do you see yourself using the ZOLA experience?
You can use this experience any place. The last time that I talk about helping others every day, and then you start to talk to people and they say, well, I lost this and this is what happened to me, and I'm able to use it right then and there, whether it be in a school setting, whether it be in religious based setting, uh, um, any setting that you can share share positivity, that again, that there is life after the
Mhm,
grieving process. So I would say you can share this in any areas. I shared it in my religious area, in my church.
mhm,
I've talked with my family during different things that we may have in our homes, or places that we gather, and you just start to talk to people, and they may mention something to you, and you're able to relate to them and use the Zola experience. So I would say anywhere.
anywhere.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
definitely in our communities, we need it.
Mhm. And that is really a real treasure and a real plus for the curriculum that we've been divinely given, as I say, that it can be used in all settings, regardless of any. There are no barriers to the Zola
Correct,
experience, right?
correct.
Recently, as you know, we've developed a curriculum for young adults
Yes,
and for Zola kids. And we will be training children between the ages of 6 and 14 to be what we call
wonderful.
ZOLA Kid Ambassadors. Can you just speak a little bit why, uh, how that might benefit that young of a group of people?
Absolutely. A lot of times we talk about how we live what we learn, and as
Mhm,
children, their minds are still developing, and it's important that we give them, provide them with the necessary ways to process as
mhm,
a young person. So starting off when they're young. With children is a really, really great idea, because this allows them to be able to process grief appropriately and also share this experience with others.
mhm, mhm. And oftentimes we silence children,
Yes.
especially around loss. Um, Like I know for myself, I experienced a geographical loss, as we call it in Zola, as my loss of object when I was like 7, and
Hmm.
I moved from Nashville to Seattle, and no longer had the support
Hmm.
system that I had grown accustomed to when I lived with my grandmother. But there was no preparation about this transition back in the day. Fortunately, we've learned some things from that we do need to prepare children for major transitions in their life, like moving from one side of the country to the other and
Yes.
never going to see familiar faces again, or being separated from their support network, if the relationship that they had with their grandparents or things like that. So, um, and being a clinician, as you know, um, I spend half of my time trying to get people to identify feelings,
Yes.
right? And so if we can get started with teaching children how to identify feelings and to validate their feelings, I think that it will have a major shift when they
Absolutely.
become adults.
Yes. I
Mhm,
definitely agree. I do. That's
mhm,
wonderful.
mhm. And we also have the ZOLA for young adults, and those are like high school through I think 25, 26 years old. Um, uh, how might that? I know you have uh, young adults in your
I do.
household
I
now.
do. I
How
do. I
might
have a
the
21
ZOLA
year old and a
experience
17-year-old.
21
And 17,
and
yes.
17?
Yes.
Okay, so how might ZOLA for young adults because help them?
again, at this age, they're trying to figure themselves out.
Mhm.
So and then a lot of times with the young adults, they may be caught up in maybe in some areas of their lives where they're not quite sure, and they may have lost some friends due to some gun violence, or just
Mm.
maybe some the gangs and all the maybe some of the negative things that are happening in the community, and that again, that they're at that time where they're trying to find themselves. So
Mhm.
again, this will be a great experience for them to be able to learn to process. It goes back to learning to process, and the faster that you learn to process your emotions, and it's better for you as you get older. So I think that the Zola experience will be great for the young people around that age group, because again, they're trying to find themselves, and they may be again caught up into things that they're really unsure, and they maybe have lost some things and not quite sure know how to process that. So
Mhm.
again, Zola will be great experience for the young people to learn about.
Absolutely. I totally agree. Because once they get to be adults,
Things shift.
that's the work, right?
Yes.
Once they get to be adults, and then all of this, we do talk about, like you said, children. We say children learn what they live, but
Yes.
adults live what they've learned. And
Absolutely.
so it's that unlearning piece
Yes.
that we have to work with adults. Um, but in the facilitation, that's what we do with Zola. It's like I say, it's the a soft entry into therapy, if that's the direction that people choose to go. But for our community, we have to go at that approach because we have to give them some frame of reference to what it feels like to be in a wellness space.
Yes,
And
and
I
also
believe,
providing tools for them. Sorry.
say a
Yeah,
little bit more
provide
about
them with
that.
the tools.
Mhm,
Providing those with the tools. Again, a lot of times, we just said it, we live what we learn. And personally, after going through Zola, I was able to say, wow, I had such a big reflection on how I saw grief growing up, and
mhm.
loss, and how it was talked about, and how it was relatable to in my family. So
Right. I think I lost you for half a second.
I'm sorry
Um,
about that.
right. You were saying that it was for your family and how they talked about grief. Can you say a
Yeah,
little bit more?
it was definitely an eye-opening experience, very reflective, learning how, as a child, first interactions with grief, and how my family handled it, and how I handled it as an adult. It was definitely an eye opener. It was helpful for me to be able to see how I can change. I can bring that into my community, the Zola experience, changing that, and also bring it to my
Mhm,
home. So it was just a huge reflection to be able for me to see how grief affected my how my family dealt with grief growing up.
mhm, mhm,
So just providing again the tools that are needed.
mhm, mhm. Like we say, it's a tool for change and healing, fueled by the power of love. So that is one of the things that describes the Zola experience in a sentence. So that is a good thing. So, is there any other thing you would like to share about your experience and about where you see yourself? Do you see yourself as studying to be that Zola navigator, where you'll be a train the trainer, or what do you?
Absolutely, 100%. I see myself out there sharing this experience, sharing these tools basically to my community. Our community needs an abundance of healing, and bringing Zola in every place, in every area that I can. That's where I see myself. Definitely healing and helping others process their grief appropriately.
Mhm, mhm. So, thank you so very much.
Thank you.
Um, Thank you for taking your time to just share your Zola experience, and it is so greatly appreciated. And I will see you soon.
Thank you very much.
All right. Peace and
All right.
blessings.
Peace and blessings.
So I just want to say again, thank you, Robin, for joining us. Once again, it just really validates for the Zola community how very much needed what we are doing is for everyone and how versatile it is. I think for me, uh, as when I was divinely inspired to write down this curriculum, um, it was to give Zola to the world. That is my divine mission, is to offer Zola to the world. And we're slowly making inroads domestically. Um, we're in Seattle, Minnesota. We're in um, North Carolina. We're in uh, uh, South Africa, the Philippines, and we're an NGO in Thailand. So we are growing, and we're a young organization, and we came about in the middle of a historic time of loss for the globe uh, in 2020, and when we're in the middle of COVID, and people were experiencing astronomical loss. And so one of the things that I wrote about in the book was the fact that we can, what everything that the creator does has purpose, and how we need all of us in creation to make this the world that we're supposed to live in, and how one microscopic germ could bring the whole world to a halt. That is a powerful statement, and something we need to really just kind of think about. It wasn't anything really big. It was something microscopic that made us all stop and think and look at how are we interacting with each other? How are we caring for each other? How are we helping each other? Um, our rituals were lost. We didn't have really anything to fall back on. We didn't have people weren't allowed to have funerals, which helps to bring some sense of closure. Uh, we weren't allowed to commune. Yeah, holidays were very different. We got into holidays via Zoom because it was thought that we needed to have the space from each other. Um, so what came out of that for me is that we need to bring ourselves together so that we can truly love each other and truly want for our fellow human being what we want for ourselves after we come to an understanding of our own sense of self and our own sense of self-love and caring, so that these kind of situations, we can support each other to get through them. And the human spirit, I truly believe in the human spirit. No matter what happens, no matter what the disaster is, or the challenge that we are given, whether it's locally or globally, the human spirit, the essence of the human spirit, always comes out. And what is that essence? It's the essence of love, the love and the caring and the giving to another human being, to make their suffering a little bit less, to support them to heal, to support them to be able to do the basics, sharing food, sharing space, all of those things. Um, it, so I truly believe that no matter what, I know we're going through a very difficult and challenging time. There's wars and rumors of wars. There's um, uh, we don't know who to trust, or they're saying, you can't trust the media, you can't trust this, you can't trust that. But what we can trust is the human spirit and our innate desire to do the next right thing, our innate desire to honor another human being. And that's the energy that motivates me each and every day. You will see that um, I wear butterflies, and the butterfly, as you see, is part of our logo. And there's a story to that logo. When I was trying to and I use this word I, was trying to figure out what is the thing that would be the best symbol around Zola and the ultimate sacrifice sometimes that we have to make for love of our fellow human being. And once I surrendered to the fact that I was doing anything, and I surrendered and asked spirit, asked the ancestors and my guides to just guide me to the right logo, that is when I found that logo that you see behind me. And it was a black and white butterfly. And people oftentimes ask me, why did you choose a black and white butterfly? Why didn't you choose a colorful butterfly? I said, well, black and white is colorful. And if you want to add any other colors to the white, or you want to subtract any other colors from the black, then you would do that as you begin your healing process in your life, that you are the one that adds color to your life. And I chose the butterfly. The butterfly chose me because when you think about the journey of a butterfly, and it starts off as a larva, and then it's a caterpillar, and it's eating everything it can in sight. They say up to 40% of its weight they consume. And then they instinctively build the chrysalis or their cocoon. And while they're in that chrysalis, they totally liquefy, except for their DNA, right? And then the creator puts it all back together in the form of a butterfly. So it's the ultimate example of trusting the universe, trusting the creator that it's already all right, that it's going to be all right, it's going to be okay, right? And you can't help the butterfly get out of the chrysalis. It has to do it on its own. Otherwise, it may not survive because it has to go through that in order to get the blood to its wings so it can take flight. So that's what I want you to do. Take flight. So thank you so much for joining us in this episode. And as we say in ZOLA, peace and blessing.
Open your heart.